A King Air 350 took off from Texas, and within moments the pilots were fighting to keep it in the air. What went so terribly wrong? The story starts on June 30th, 2019 at Addison Airport in Texas. The King Air 350, a twin-engine turboprop aircraft operated by Techron Aviation, was about to embark on a flight from Texas to Albert Whitted Airport in St. Petersburg, Florida. The trip was planned to take the passengers over 1,000 miles across the southeastern United States, a route that should have been routine for the experienced crew. The 8 passengers and 2 pilots, however, had no idea that their journey would soon spiral into chaos, exposing critical vulnerabilities in flight safety. Earlier that day, preparations appeared normal. The plane was refueled with 329 gallons of fuel, providing sufficient range for the planned flight, and the passengers arrived at the hangar around 7:30 a.m., about 90 minutes before the scheduled 9 a.m. departure. The co-pilot welcomed the passengers and loaded their luggage into the aircraft's baggage compartment without weighing it, a seemingly minor detail, but one that contributed to an improper weight and balance calculation. This oversight, coupled with the aircraft's slightly over-limit takeoff weight, would play a critical role in what followed. The captain, a seasoned aviator with over 16,000 flight hours, including more than 1,100 hours on the King Air 350, was at the controls. His co-pilot, while less experienced, had over 2,300 hours of flight time. Yet, despite their combined experience, the pilots neglected basic protocols. They skipped the pre-flight checklist and conducted no formal briefing to discuss emergency procedures, a fundamental step in aviation safety designed to prepare for worst-case scenarios. The King Air 350 is equipped with various safety systems, such as the rudder boost and auto feather systems. The rudder boost assists the pilot in maintaining control if an engine fails by reducing the force needed to manage the rudder, while the auto feather system automatically adjusts the propeller blades to a feathered position, 90 degrees to the airflow, to minimize drag if an engine loses power. However, neither system appeared to have been adequately checked or confirmed, leaving the crew unprepared for what was about to happen. At 9:03 a.m., the engines were started, and the aircraft taxied to runway 15. By 9:09 a.m., they received clearance for takeoff. The power levers were advanced to full throttle, and the plane began its takeoff roll. As the aircraft accelerated, the co-pilot confirmed airspeeds alive, indicating that the airspeed indicators were functioning correctly. Just 6 seconds after takeoff, trouble began. The pilot noticed fluctuating RPMs on the left engine, which signaled an impending issue. The stall warning sounded almost immediately, indicating that the aircraft's speed was insufficient to maintain lift. "You just lost your left engine," the co-pilot said as the aircraft began to roll left. The stall warning then briefly ceased, only to resume as the plane struggled to gain altitude. A key issue during the incident was the extended landing gear. The gear should have been retracted immediately after liftoff to reduce drag, but it remained down, severely impacting the aircraft's climb rate. Moreover, the left engine's propeller had not feathered, which resulted in significant drag, further degrading the aircraft's performance. Investigators later determined that, contrary to initial reports, both engines were still generating some power at the time of impact, ruling out a complete engine failure as the primary cause. The crash occurred at 9:10 a.m., just 41 seconds after takeoff. The aircraft, nearly inverted, struck a hangar and burst into flames, killing all 10 people on board. This tragic accident raised several questions. How could a relatively small turboprop aircraft become uncontrollable so quickly? And why couldn't the pilots recover from the loss of power on one engine? In aviation, the procedures for handling engine failures are well documented. When an engine loses power, pilots are trained to follow a set of steps known as the engine failure after takeoff procedure. This involves maintaining directional control using the rudder, retracting the landing gear, and feathering the propeller of the failed engine to reduce drag. The rudder boost system should assist in applying the correct rudder input to counteract the yaw caused by asymmetric thrust. In this incident, however, the lack of proper checklist usage meant that crucial systems like the rudder boost may not have been engaged, and the auto-feather system did not activate as expected. The investigation revealed that the friction locks on the power levers were improperly set, allowing vibrations to cause unintended throttle movements during takeoff. This contributed to the irregular engine power changes. Additionally, the captain had a known history of not using checklists and reportedly took a casual approach to pre-flight safety checks. This attitude likely influenced the crew's actions, including the absence of a takeoff briefing that should have covered emergency procedures. Furthermore, the aggressive rotation technique used by the captain left the aircraft with minimal safety margins. The King Air 350's stall speed with an engine failure is significantly higher than during normal operations, making the choice to rotate early at 102 knots critical. The reduced margin meant that any loss of thrust would quickly lead to a stall condition. The subsequent analysis suggested that during the early stages of the incident, the pilot may have applied the wrong rudder input, worsening the aircraft's roll. The King Air 350, despite its capabilities, requires strict adherence to safety protocols, especially during emergency situations such as engine failures. Known for its reliable performance, the aircraft is widely used for executive transport, medical evacuation, and military missions. However, the complexity of handling asymmetric thrust, where one engine produces significantly less power, poses a challenge. This crash highlighted the dangers when pilots do not rigorously follow standard procedures for high-performance turboprop aircraft. In this case, the improper setting of friction locks and the failure to feather the left propeller after losing power contributed significantly to the crash. Checklist discipline is a cornerstone of aviation safety. The Eastern Airlines Flight 401 incident in 1972 serves as a prime example, where a distracted crew overlooked a rapidly descending aircraft due to a minor landing gear light issue, leading to a crash in the Florida Everglades. Similarly, in 1987, Northwest Airlines Flight 255 crashed shortly after takeoff because the crew skipped the checklist that would have revealed improper flap settings. Effective communication, or the lack thereof, also played a crucial role in the King Air 350 crash. Just as in the 1978 United Airlines Flight 173 incident, where the crew's failure to communicate about the aircraft's fuel status led to a crash, the King Air's pilots did not verbally confirm critical speeds or coordinate emergency actions. This breakdown in communication during a crucial moment contributed to the aircraft becoming uncontrollable. Such cases stress the importance of CRM, crew resource management, which emphasizes teamwork. Aviation incidents like the 2008 crash of a Learjet 60 in South Carolina show the deadly consequences of skipping checklist items. The aircraft, overloaded and with improperly inflated tires, suffered a rejected takeoff that resulted in a fatal crash. This underscores the need for pilots to be diligent in verifying every aspect of the aircraft's readiness, just as the King Air 350's pilots failed to adjust the friction locks and verify the readiness of systems such as auto-feather and rudder boost. The King Air 350 crash also highlighted the psychological aspect of flying, where familiarity can breed complacency. The pilot had flown the aircraft many times before, which may have led him to feel confident enough to skip standard procedures. However, aviation history teaches that confidence should never replace caution. Pilots are trained to treat every flight with the same level of diligence, regardless of experience or how familiar the route may be. This incident serves as a stark reminder that strict adherence to protocols is not just a routine task, but a life-saving necessity. In the aftermath of this tragic crash, the lessons learned continue to shape modern aviation safety standards. Training programs now emphasize checklist discipline, effective communication, and thorough pre-flight inspections even more rigorously. The case study of the King Air 350 crash serves as a crucial reminder that aviation safety is built on a foundation of multiple layers, each designed to catch and correct potential errors before they result in catastrophe. For pilots and the aviation industry at large, the takeaway is clear. When it comes to safety, there are no shortcuts.